Hi, this is Tour Guide Stan for Isle of New York Tours. We're in Central Park. We're going to take a look at this map. Today we're going to walk from this corner, Columbus Circle, at Central Park West and 8th Avenue and Broadway and 59th Street, across the park to 5th Avenue at Grand Army Plaza. That is, well, there. 5th Avenue with 59th Street. Ready? It's summer 2025. These are horse carriages, and the, well, semi-governmental body that runs the park has decided that they don't like horse carriages anymore. Oh, this is one of the few that work in the whole city. The trick is getting cyclists to respect them. You're going to get sort of a mini tour of what's along here. Now, this is the drive. It's just about exactly 6 miles, or just about exactly 10 kilometers around. There's the West Drive over on this side. That's the West Drive. And the East Drive on the other side. The parameters of the park are half a mile or 800 meters east and west. 4.1 miles, I'm sorry, 4.1 kilometers, 2.5 miles north and south. Ready? To the south you can see 1930s skyscrapers. And if you look up, much taller new skyscrapers on what's known as Billionaire's Row. Why did Manhattan not build over this area? Well, it's 1858 when they began construction of the park. And in 1858, the most powerful explosive in the world was gunpowder. You can't take out all these rocks. And there's miles of rocks with gunpowder. So they said, well, we'll make a park. They were under a lot of pressure to make a park. Parks were supposed to have been made at Herald Square and Times Square, but they did not make them. Now, the designer of the park, Frederick Olmsted, designed it with curving paths so that people would find out what's around the bend, and with all kinds of structures and features to make it pleasant to do so. They began construction in 1858. The park opened in 1873. But people were, of course, climbing over fences. Technology of the day was about, I think, 1850, 1855, that engineers in Sheffield, England, figured out how to mass produce steel. This bridge here is not made of steel. This is cast iron. We just passed under pine trees. This is Pine Bank Arch. It goes over the end of the bridle path for riding horses. You know, there weren't any cars when the park was developed. There were no electric lights either. This cul-de-sac became, oh well, really famous when 3 boys standing here threw snowballs down at Will Ferrell, who was being an elf at the time. Yeah, that scene. Now, a little distant from here, there are 5 softball fields. Not baseball fields, although a softball is not as hard as a baseball. It's pretty hard, and it'll hurt you if it hits you. Anyway, because people like to sit on this rock and watch the games, it's been dubbed Umpire Rock. Around 10 years ago, Amy Schumer and Bill Hader sat here in the movie Trainwreck. Now, this is all Manhattan schist, and the stairs are schist as well. They're not for the faint-hearted. Some of them might move a little as you step. A Scandinavian geologist in the 1860s saw rocks around here and said, hey, I wonder why the north sides of the rocks are vertical and the south sides taper to a point. You know, they're like that in Norway. I wonder if, could it be possible that sometime in the distant past, North America was covered by a sheet of ice? This was the first ideation that there might have been an ice age. Now we know there were three. And the path splits again. Well, some people like to go this way, so we'll do that. It's just after 5. The office people have gotten out of their suits and dresses and are now hanging out on the benches. Activity will remain in the park until roughly 9:30 when all the runners go home. So, how do you make a park before there were cars? They didn't want pedestrians on that perimeter road. So, to allow them passage, 36 arches like this one were placed. I believe this one's made of Nova Scotia sandstone, for all the Canadians in the audience. The only cars that go on the sidewalk are, well, Conservancy cars. Every bridge, span, and arch has a name. Oh yeah, this is definitely sandstone. I'm not positive that it's from Nova Scotia, but it's definitely sandstone. And local brick. Gas lamps lit the way back in the day. It's like holding two candles together. That's how bright they were. The bridle path is paved in gravel, although it's been more than a decade since the stable up on 86th Street closed. Now, I haven't seen a horse on the bridle path in, I think, since COVID, maybe earlier. There's horses up there, though. There's a carriage. Let's see if we can get them over Dalehead Arch. Okay, just barely. But you get the picture. Pedestrians down there, road users up on the road. And you know, before the invention of the electric light in 1879 by Edison over in New Jersey, headlights on a carriage were gas lamps or maybe kerosene lamps, not too bright. For those who don't know, 100 years ago, August Heckscher was a big real estate developer. It was his gift, these 5 ball fields and a big playground over that way. You know what? I hear cars and trucks and buses. Do you? They're over that way. Now, imagine everything in the world is horse-drawn. Do we want a giant all-day traffic jam on 59th Street and another one at 110th Street? No. The designers of the parks were genius. They built 65th Street just behind there and about 20 feet down. Yeah, it's just after 5. Everybody's walking the dog. Do you see something from the upper Midwest here? It's this yellowish grit. It's called loess, and it comes from like Nebraska, maybe other states nearby. Every ball field in North America has it. It's great for sliding, like sliding from base to base. A place to sit and watch a game if the game is at a field that's close enough. This is the Ball Fields Cafe. There's lots of little places to eat and drink inside the park. For those of you visiting New York, you should definitely go west from Midtown to 9th Avenue because there's more than 100 restaurants and bars from 54th Street down to 42nd, 43rd Street. Oh, now see this. This is proof of the ice ages. This is an erratic. It's made of, let's see. Well, we're not really sure, but it's crystalline. And there are flecks of orange, like right there. That's feldspar. Much of this may be feldspar. Now, the schist is what's under all of us in Manhattan. It's a really strong metamorphic stone, good for building skyscrapers into. This was laid down sometime around 500 million years ago when Eastern North America collided with West Africa, Mauritania, Morocco, like that. And let's see, can you see the score along here? That's a mark of an Ice Age glacier dragging a harder stone and wearing down the schist. It dragged lots of stones, including this erratic. From the looks of it, I'd say it came from the Adirondack Mountains, which are about a 4-hour drive north of here. There's quartz or quartzite that came up around 125 million years ago, and there's 65th Street. It's cleverly hidden, so it's hard to see and hard to hear. And the path splits again. Now, there's a carousel over here. Can you see the milkweed seed? Well, they're hard to spot. Anyway, carousel. The carousel opened in 1952, but the horses were, I think they were carved in or near Coney Island around 1900. Da 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 da. I used to know this. When we were a couple of kids. Now, up on that hill, called Kinderberg, or Children's Hill, that's the chess and checkers house where kids can rent a board game on a rainy day. How do you get there from here? Why, you go through this arch from the chess and checkers house to the carousel. What do you suppose they call that arch? Why Playmates? Because it goes directly from one children and family venue to another. Playmate, oh won't you play with me? My mother sang me that song way back in the 1950s. There to the right is Chess and Checkers house, and straight ahead it's supposed to look like a Swiss loggia, a heavy slate roof held up only by wooden posts. This is the dairy. Back in the 19th century, cows lived in there. Dairy cows, Swiss cows and Guernseys, known for their milk volume. The milk was distributed to the mothers of poor children. Where did they graze? Right down here. The cow herd got them together every morning and walked them down to a little dale just over here where they could graze all day. Why? Because out this way was farms, and out that way was farms. But down there was almost 1 million people living in Manhattan at that time. They came up this way, and they were given the illusion that they were on a farm. There were cows, 20 cows in the field. What's there now? There's the Dale. However, around 1955, a lady from Kansas donated a lot of money to the Parks Department on the condition that an ice skating rink be put in here and named for her father, the Woolman Rink. Movies. This skating rink was seen in the Bradley Cooper movie, in which he becomes a genius by taking an illegal pill, Limitless. What's above us? Well, that's 432 Park Avenue. Every top tier apartment, and each floor is an apartment, went for $81 million back in 2012. But it sways in the wind, and the pipes all leak, and they're suing. Then the GM building, and then well, that's from 1960, the striped one. Then the Sherry Netherland from 1927, the first skyscraper hotel. Not to be outdone, there's the Pierre, where you can get a beer for only 20 bucks. And the building that I was told that Joan Rivers owned half of the top floor. She passed away a few years ago having throat surgery. IBM, AT&T, now Sony, Trump Tower. And we can just see a little of the roof line of the plaza, but we'll see it better soon.
Oh, you're so cute.
Probably the most famous of the arches is Inscope, because lurking behind the tree was the Pigeon Lady, and this is where Macaulay Culkin hid from the bad guys and where she got rid of them. This is a land of giant boots. And now when he's standing in the arch, you can see the staircase behind it, so you know it's Inscope Arch. Just up the hill from Inscope Arch, this staircase, and a downhill, lots of hills in the park, to the pond. The water's really shallow, but it has fish in it. And I was born in a town of 5,000 upstate, out in the woods, and I never saw a heron or an egret until I moved to New York. Last time I was here, there was a heron right over there. It's a weird thing. People come into the park and they have to stop here to take photos. Why do they want to come here? Because they just got off the street and suddenly they're in the middle of a quiet water feature with a little bridge called, well, I've forgotten the name of it, and I can't look it up because I'm using the camera. But it was in Sweet Charity. Gapstow Bridge. Red-eared slider turtles. They're not native to this area, but somebody put a few in maybe 90, 100 years ago, and now they're all over the place. They are cold-blooded, so on warm days they come up to take the sun. People feed them, but they don't take anything but lettuce. Nothing else is good for them. That's, it says Moore on the base. 200, yeah, about 200 years ago, he developed West 23rd Street in Chelsea. Why is there a statue of that? Well, he also wrote, "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house curving paths, lilies, cattails, and up to 20,000 trees in the park. There's a park tree census every year. Estimates range from 17,000 to 20,000. So we're almost down to the corner of Grand Army Plaza and 59th Street. This big chunk of rock is worn down. What can wear down the rock? Look how rounded some of the pieces are. It's worn down because kids come in through the entrance and this is the first big rock they see and they have to climb it. So it's worn down. There's 59th Street and we're going to just go up those stairs. The stairs are granite from Massachusetts.
You're not at a happy hour with your friends.
You're not? I'm not. Okay. There's 5th Avenue over there at the Metropolitan Club. Grand Army Plaza, named for the Grand Army of the United States in the American Civil War. We just came across Central Park. Half a mile as the crow flies, but you've seen quite a bit more. So now you know how to get across Central Park. And if you want to see this and a lot more, take my 2-hour walking tour of Central Park. You'll be amazed. My name is Tour Guide Stan. I'm from Isle of New York Tours. I love New York.